Absolute dynamite. Oh my goodness. Andrew McCART, IFL TV, in association with MTK Global. I'm here in beautiful Monte Carlo, Monaco. With me I've got none other than David Diamante. David, just describe this place to me. How beautiful is it? I'm loving it here.
And we're right on the Mediterranean Sea. The sun just went behind the building, but about 5 minutes ago this place was just bathed in sunlight. It's decadent, it's luxurious, it's the high life, man.
Definitely.
Great spot.
We can't complain, can we?
Not at all.
Well, the reason why we are here for work, believe it or not. It's just not all play for me and you. Huge card here in Monaco. But you know what I mean, we've got, well, you broke it down eloquently. I told you yesterday, when I needed my information for the card, I go on David Diamante's Instagram story, you break down the card for me. I'm like, oh yeah, that's where I get my information from. Just don't do as much as you did on your Instagram story, but just break down the card for me if you can.
Well, it's just a nice card. I mean, obviously at the top of the bill you have the secondary title, the WBA welterweight title, the regular title, which is the super and the regular. Manny Pacquiao had this title. He fought Keith Thurman in July. The title became vacant, so now we've got Alexander Vesputin and Butaev. So Radzab Butaev are fighting for this. They're both undefeated. It's a Nixon-nil fight. They're both ranked number 1 and number 2 respectively in the world by the WBA. They know each other. You know, they were amateurs in the Russian system, and Vesputin usually really kind of got always the nod over Butaev, but you know, things change, especially in the pros. Although I just want to say it does seem that Vesputin's been moved a little bit better. I mean, he's fought several 10-rounders, and he's with Top Rank. Igis Klimas, Butaev is with World of Boxing. They're both top camps, so it's going to be a great fight. Look, there's a storyline for this one, and they know each other. They're undefeated. They both want this. It's a world title.
Can we stereotype like two Russian guys fighting each other, man? Can we stereotype it and say it's going to be an all-out war? Could we do that?
I mean, you never know what you're going to get with a fight. You never know what you're going to get with a fight, and I never like to stereotype, but I think it's going to be a hell of a fight. I really do. I think it's going to be a great fight. So that's there, and then, of course, the chief support is Cecilia Brækhus, and she's the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. Since 2009, she's held world honors, which is pretty amazing.
Scary, isn't it, when you think about it?
It's scary. So it's always great to see her in action. She's fighting Victoria Bustos from Argentina. She's a 2-time 2-division former world champion for the IBF, lightweight, super lightweight. She's tough. You know, she went the distance with Katie Taylor. She fought Erica Farias twice. So she's tough. She's we'll see what happens. But and then I assume what I assume is that what I see in the future, if you look in the crystal ball, is possibly a Taylor Brækhus.
140.
I don't think 140. It would have to probably be a little bit higher. Some catch weight, maybe 142. Just like, but who knows?
Well, I think with the women's division, again, still women's boxing, even though it's on an upward scale at this time, the depth of talent, the pool of talent isn't quite there yet, if that makes sense. So for Katie Taylor and Brækhus to fight, it makes sense at this time. So even though you do have a crystal ball there, David, but I think it makes a lot of sense.
I think that's what we're headed toward. But again, you can never count anyone out. Bustos is here to do work. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely.
So many other nice little fights. Hughie Fury's on the card, which is always cool to see him. People love to trash talk these guys, but these guys are getting in the ring and they're fighting. Hats off to him. He's had some tough outings against all the guys with the P names: Pulev, Parker, Povetkin.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's been having some issues with them, but he's fighting Pavel Sauer. So
his first name begins with a P, though.
It does.
Maybe that's
his nickname is Pablo. So there's 2 P's, so I don't know. He's from Czech Republic. He's from Pilsen. From Pilsen.
Oh my gosh.
Pilsen Pablo.
You may be onto something here, David.
Yeah, I think that Pavel went the distance just recently with a guy named Jermaine Franklin, who actually can really fight. Jermaine Franklin can fight, but his problem was he did a bid. He went away. He went to the big house, and so he's come back. He's not the same fighter he was, but he's still tricky. He's one of those tricky fighters. He went the distance with him on a Showtime card. I think it was a Showbox card. Look, Pavel Sauer is not the top contender in the world here, but
it's good for you to get back in the win column, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah.
That's the thing, and you want to see Huey Fury get some wins and kind of live up to that potential. I mean, he's really young, and to have all those great opponents on the CV already at this time, and man, he can take a punch. He's got a beard, man. He really does. Povetkin hit him with some big shots. He was right there. He was rock solid. Let's see who else is on the card. So my favorite, besides the top fight.
This is a sleeper fight, I might think.
I think it's a sleeper on the card, man. I really love this fight. Cordina and Tinoco. This is a killer fight, man. It's for the WBA Continental. It's at super feather. So Cordina, he holds honors as the British and the Commonwealth and the WBA International champ at lightweight. And so he's moving down. The rumor is that he's gone vegan. Okay, so just naturally he's dropped the weight class. Hopefully he'll carry more power at 130 than 135. Tinoco, we know him because he beat Jordan Gill. He took his WBA international title. And he usually campaigns at feather. Yeah. So he's moving up, he's moving up in weight class, but he fought at lightweight. He actually fought higher than lightweight. He fought Devin Haney, I think it was 138.
Just to give somebody some context how tough Tinoco is.
Dude, Tinoco's tough. He's a dog, man. He's a come forward guy. He loves to go to the body. This is the thing about this fight, Cordina, he's an Olympian. He's got the pedigree. He's a hell of a fighter. He's a Welshman. He was from Cardiff.
Oh, he's a Welsh wizard, eh?
The Welsh wizard. He's a hell of a fighter, but this is totally two different styles. Tinoco is a come forward dog, and Tinoco will take your punches to give his. He doesn't care.
Take 5 to land 1.
He doesn't care, and he's not going to stop. So Cordina's in a fight, and we're going to it's a great litmus test to really find out where he is. It's a big step up. I think it's his toughest opponent to date, without a doubt. And I think if he passes this test with flying colors, I think he's really someone to watch. So I really can't wait for this fight. It's going to be really interesting. It's a tough fight. Yeah,
definitely. Well, one fight I'm interested in seeing is obviously the Chinese heavyweight Zhang Jilei. I hope I said that right, David. You'll correct me if I'm saying it wrong.
So his name is Jilei John. So the ZH is pronounced with a J.
Oh, right, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but in China they say the last name first. So John Jilei is how it is.
See, that's why I come here for some educational input.
Yeah. So it's John Jilei, even though his name is.
I seen it. Yeah.
Jilei John, but the Chinese do the last name first. So his nickname is Big Bang.
So your name would be Diamante, David.
Correct. Correct. He's a 2-time Olympian. He won silver. In one of the Olympics. You know what's interesting about this fight? He's fighting Andrei Rudenko, who actually Huey Fury fought here in 2015 in Monaco.
All right, yeah.
He fought him in Monaco. It was a 10-round fight, and Huey won on points. It was a points win. But this fight, first of all, Sean George is training him. Sean George is an old buddy of mine. I knew him from the amateur system in New York. Hell of a fighter. He fought at light heavyweight. He has wins over Chris Bird. Wow. He's a hell of a fighter. He's his trainer. He's a great guy. I had breakfast with him the other day. We talked about it. He really likes John. He thinks that he's a real talent. So we'll see. He's promoted by Rock Nation. If he can't beat Rudenko, this is, so he should win this fight. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Super nice guy. He doesn't speak a lot of English, but he tries. And he was supposed to actually fight on this card last year, but something fell through, whatever, it didn't happen. But so it's really exciting to have him here. I'm excited, man. I really want to see him fight and see how he looks. So see if the Big Bang.
That's his nickname, the Big Bang.
The Big Bang,
live up to that.
If he can get it down. And actually, something else I just wanted to say about the Tinoco fight, just to give perspective on these guys and how amazing they are. Tinoco, he's such a tough guy. He really used to being the underdog, and he came in on that JD Next Gen show, and he
in Nottingham, in May, wasn't it?
It was in Nottingham, and beat Jordan Gill, who's a top prospect. He's a lawyer.
What?
He's a lawyer. You know that?
No, I did not. No.
He's an abogado. He's a criminal defense lawyer in this country.
Wow, he
He's an amazing guy.
Does not look like a lawyer. I mean, again, you don't want to read a book by its cover and all this sort of stuff, but
You never can you?
You never ever think he was a lawyer. The way he looks, because he's got that sort of, I want to say it was a mean sort of look about him. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm ready for business.
In the ring,
type
he
look.
certainly does.
Yeah, definitely.
He's a super nice guy outside of it.
Definitely.
He's from Rosarito, right near Tijuana, in the same state, Baja California.
Well, Tijuana's a lovely spot. So I'm here. I've never been.
Can
Have you
be.
been?
I've been several times. I've been many times to Tijuana.
You know what? Let me get some stories, Dave. Let me get some views. Let me get some views on YouTube. Come on, tell me some stories of Tijuana. Next time.
Next time. Yeah.
I'll hold
Then
you.
you got to buy the book for that.
Is there a book coming?
There's a lot.
Is there a book coming?
I'm working on a book.
Yeah.
I'm working on a book. There's a lot of stories of Tijuana. A lot.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. Maybe when the book comes out, you can give me a couple of stories. Talking about travelling, well, you've been to Tijuana clearly. I mean, you've missed Thanksgiving this year because you're on the road again.
Yeah.
And you're going to be on the road again next week because you're heading out to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I think I've spoke to you about this card on numerous occasions. Has your mind changed on anything like that? About the card? Obviously, Dylan White's been added. You know what I mean? It's quite heavyweight sort of orientated now.
Heavyweight heavy.
Yeah, heavyweight heavy, top heavy.
Great.
Just what's your thoughts on all that? I mean, we've got two heavyweights here in Monaco, but then again next week, everyone loves the big boys, I suppose.
I mean, come on, how can you not with the big punch? No, it's great stuff. But forget all the other fights. To me, it's about AJ and Ruiz. Great fight. I think AJ is going to win this fight. I can say.
What makes you say that?
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
This fight, I wish I could sit with AJ for 10 minutes in a room and give him a motivational speech and talk to him. I'm sure he obviously has top training, whatever, but I still would just like to talk to him and just try to. 2 words. This fight to me really actually should be easy. Control distance.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Just control the distance. He's such a bigger guy. He's such a stronger guy. The blueprint's there. Emmanuel Stewart had the blueprint. Klitschko, Lewis, just jab, double jab right hand, double jab right hand. He comes in, hold him, lean on him, tire him, do it again. Stick to your boxing.
Yeah.
Stick to your boxing. You don't need to fight inside with this guy. And if the knockout comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Just box. Stick to your boxing. It's fundamentals. That's why this is called the sweet science. It's not a tough man competition where guys in jeans and overalls are just swinging wildly. This is not what this is, And there's no doubt Ruiz is a tough SOB. He's a bad boy. Mm-hmm. He's a hell of a fighter. He knows how to fight, quick hands. I think he's got a lot better foot movement than people give him credit for. I mean, a lot of times, great foot movement is actually you don't need a lot of movement to have good foot movement. You need to be in the right places, and he is. He knows how to move. So he's a very underrated fighter. Not anymore. But again, it's one of those things. Like, imagine this: in baseball, you get a pitcher, and a pitcher has certain control, and he has certain pitches. So he's pitching, and they go through the rotation, the 1 through the 9 slot, right? And guys, when they first are seeing him, like they can't, the speed of the pitches and the angles, they're missing it. They can't see him. But by the 2nd, the 3rd time in the rotation, guys start seeing the pitches. They start cracking them, because they're studying him, they're seeing what he does. And this is very similar to, I think, the situation that's happening with Ruiz. I think that he was overlooked before. I think AJ knew he was a decent fighter. I think he thought he would just blow through him. You can never buy your own hype, and when everyone's just saying how great you are, I think there was kind of that spot. I don't know if that's what AJ was doing, but I'm just saying that's a possibility.
Yeah.
When everyone's he's the heavyweight champ of the world, he's so great. I mean, you're still in fights, man, and you're in fights against guys that they're all coming for your head. The fights don't get any easier, so all these guys are coming for you, especially when you're at the top. And AJ was at the top. I believe he's going to be at the top again. I think he's going to win this fight. And that's how he does it. To make my point, John Gillette beat Ruiz. Mm-hmm. He beat Ruiz in the amateurs.
Oh, really?
And AJ beat John Gillette. John Gillette has fought both of them.
That's quite interesting as well. See, again, this is what I come to you. I don't know these things.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I should research a little bit harder, but I don't know where you get your information from, David. You got like a secret boxing book somewhere in your room that you. What's going on here?
I've been watching the sport for a long time, and he beat Ruiz, and just by controlling the distance. Mm-hmm. That's it, man. That's all you do in this fight. It's not that hard. I mean, it could be difficult.
Yeah.
But the game plan is simple. control the distance.
Do
That's it.
you think with Joshua back in June at Madison Square Garden, do you think he sort of got the knockdown and then rushed in, trying to finish him, and then that's where obviously Ruiz thought, you know what, now you're in my world, enclosed sort of thing?
Listen, I can't blame him because he knocked him down. Powerful punch, and in the ensuing exchange, he hit him twice hard. Bang, bang, perfect, beautiful punches, square, flush. Those are the same punches that knocked Povetkin out. You know, and Povetkin is tough, and that knocked him out. I was right there, Wembley, 5 feet away, saw it. It was brutal. So he probably figured the same thing's going to happen. But that's why I say now you know.
Yeah.
This guy's got a chin. He's got a set of whiskers. He can take a punch. So don't go for the knockout. Look, if those punches are there, land them. But keep your defense up.
Yeah.
You know, don't get in exchanges with this guy. Don't do it. You know, the kid's dangerous. Just control the distance. Everything else will come. You start breaking him down, go to his body, man.
Yeah.
You know, double jab, right hand, this and that. When you have the open for the body, go to his body and just break him down. Box. Use the ring. Use your distance.
No,
Fight tall.
Maybe you should become a coach instead of an MC. What's
Who
going
knows
on?
what the future? Who knows what the future holds?
I've got to ask, any more fights on the Saudi card tickle your fancy?
Yeah, a lot of them. They're all good, but I mean, again, that's really my focus.
Yeah.
That's really my focus right now is the AJ fight. But I think it's great to see all these guys back, and of course we're going to Phoenix for Jacobs Chavez Jr.
I'll see you out there.
You know, and then there's a lot of great stuff. I mean, it's been a wonderful year. I think we're closing out 2019 with an absolute a bang or a big bang.
Big bang.
John Gillette, the
John
big bang.
Gillette,
No,
yeah.
but we're closing it out with a bang. We really are. I mean, this Ruiz AJ, I should say Ruiz AJ because he does have the titles now. It's just such a hell of a fight that, you know, it's the psychological aspect, I think, is what's the most exciting thing about this, to see AJ facing the demons.
Yeah.
You know, and I believe he's going to win this fight.
Well, I think majority of Britain believe the same thing as you, David. I mean, it's good to have all the belts in Britain, so to speak, in a selfish point of view. But
Well, they're not all, because WBC, Deontay Wilder,
Wilder's got one of them, yes.
he sure does. He sure does.
I'm going to ask you, Wilder against Ortiz. People sort of like, when they think about Wilder, they just think all he's got is that right hand.
Yeah.
But that's all he needs.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. So there's a problem in boxing. It's called falling in love with your power. And, you know, there are guys that fall in love with their power, and so they forget about boxing because they don't need it, because they've got that equalizer, that eraser. They can erase all the mistakes with just this, which I get. But that's why, you know, in boxing, as guys come up, it's very important. The matchmaking is very, very important, because you need to teach your fighters and your prospects certain things. And there's certain opponents that you want to put them up against. And one of the opponents, when they get to a certain level, is an opponent that cannot be hurt. Like, we had a guy named Doel Carrasquillo, Puerto Rican guy, used to fight out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. This guy, I swear, his chin was like granite. You know, and this is the thing. You know, speaking of AJ, like, you can't grow muscles on your chin, right? AJ's got all these muscles. You can't put muscles on your chin, and that's a big problem for him. You know, he's been hurt. He's been hurt in the amateurs. He's been hurt in the pros. And the more a guy gets knocked out, the more I believe he's susceptible to getting knocked out. Do you understand? And there's a big difference. I know we're kind of reverting back to the old conversation here about AJ, but just to talk about it a bit.
Well, to be fair, it's probably the biggest fight of the year.
Well, it is. There's a couple things I also want to talk about too. I want to talk about the referee Michael Griffin in that contest. He, I thought, did a really splendid job. I don't know if you know who this guy is, but he's out of Canada. He's a hell of a referee. He's very good. He's an absolute gentleman. He's a friend of mine, but he's more a colleague, you know, because I really appreciate his work, and he appreciates my work, and then usually after fights we'll have a cigar together or something, we'll talk. So I've known him for a long time. He did the fight with Vosdick and Adonis Stevenson in Canada, and that was the fight that Adonis was hurt. He fell into a coma afterwards. And thank God that Adonis is doing okay now.
Yep.
But I think that really affected Michael Griffin, and seeing the way he stopped the fight, I thought it was great. I thought it was the right time to stop it. No one complained about the stoppage. And I think if he had let that fight go, we knew what the conclusion was going to be. I think AJ would have got stretched.
Yes.
And I think that he potentially could be injured. And that's bad. That's bad for him. It's bad for boxing. It's bad for everyone. We didn't need to see that. We saw the wheat had already separated from the chaff. We figured out, Ruiz won that fight fair and square, knocked him down a bunch of times, and, the competition was done. So to me, that's when the fight should be stopped. And I thought it was a great stoppage. Because I think if I remember correctly, he said, do you want to continue? And AJ said yes. So all these people that said AJ quit, like, AJ got up, man.
Yeah.
He didn't quit. How do you say AJ quit? Like, he got up. And they said, do you want to continue? He said, yeah. And he was looking around. He wasn't looking at the ref. He was out of it, I think. He was hurt. But he didn't quit.
Yeah.
But I thought the referee saved him from himself. And that's his job. And he did a great job. So big shout out to Michael Griffin. I thought
probably the only person that spoke about the ref in this fight that I've seen so far. So well done to you.
Yeah, I think it's a great job that he did, because it's now set up this fight. So this is the progression of the conversation. So now, what's so great about that stoppage is the fact that physically, I don't think AJ got hurt from that fight. There's not any residual physical damage from it, just mental and emotional damage. But this is a big thing. When a man gets beaten by another man, and I'm not talking a points win, but a knockout loss or a TKO, like what happened, an RSC, a referee stops the contest. That's a whole different thing than losing on points. And so to be able to come back into it takes a lot for AJ to do that. But I think, I don't like the fact that AJ talks about how it's this lucky punch and this and that and the third, because it wasn't a lucky punch. It was it was boxing acumen and skill and hand speed, and Ruiz knew what the hell he was doing. So I think it's important for a fighter to be able to look at why you lost, what happened, what do we need to do. You got to really take everything out, painfully put it on the table, look at it, say, wow, this didn't work, that didn't work, this is why I lost. Okay, let's fix this, put it back together, put it back in, and then move forward. I don't know if he's done that, and that's something that's very important. So the mental aspect of this fight is very, very huge, and we'll see. I think that's the biggest question mark of this fight. But if he's mentally strong, he's going to smash him.
Well said. Like I say, I enjoy my interviews with you, David, because you do give a great insight, and not just the major events. You tell me things I didn't know. Like, I didn't know Jean Gillet fought Ruiz and Joshua, so it's very, very interesting. But I want to talk about your cigars. Is this one of your own?
It is. It's a Diamante Robusto, and it's a 54 gauge. Yeah.
You love your cigars. I think when I spoke to you in New York, you mentioned that you would open up another cigar lounge or something like that.
So I'm opening up a bar.
A bar?
Yeah, I'm going to sell my cigars there, but it's a bar. It's going to be right next to Madison Square Garden, and it's nice. We're working on it now.
You're working on it now?
Yeah.
So let me see. When am I going to be in New York? So when's it going to be ready?
I don't know. It's tough. Things in New York take some time.
I bet it does.
We're working on it, though.
Well, next time I'm in New York, man, I'd love to come to Brooklyn and have a wee cigar with you, if that's
great.
all right with you.
That'd be great.
Good, man. Well, like always, thanks for this for IFL TV, David. Always a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it, man.
No problem, brother, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Thanks very much,
The fight starts now.
The fight starts now.
All right.
It is special.